Hello, folks. This is Kenny with Just the Right Angle. This is a broadcast that you can listen to right now on Rumble. It'll be live streamed. Later on, it will be available on Podbean. I'm doing a recording using the old nanny microphone. You can see it down there. Of course, I am also available on YouTube under Keep Arkansas Legal. You can find me there. It was a busy week for a lot of folks. For myself, still recovering from Thanksgiving, among other things. One issue that has come up. I'll talk a little bit about what happened at the state committee meeting. I talked about that earlier. I did attend that along with my wife and a lot of other folks. This is the link that you can share with other people. And apologies, my main issue right now is Facebook is crashed on me. I don't necessarily need it. I'm having to post in another way to get the word out that I'm doing this. Of course, the big story that most people are talking about is Daniel Penny, and rightfully so. For those who don't know, Daniel Penny was someone who stopped a violent, schizophrenic, drugged out, crazy person from harming people on the subway. Unfortunately, he was then harassed by the Alvin Bragg, the same anti-Trump guy who should have been disbarred and removed from public office decades ago. That is not what I typed. Hold on just a second. Make sure I got the right link here. I do. And was just acquitted. He just had an interview, which you can see here. Parler News. I didn't know Parler was up. It had crashed for a little while and apparently is now working. So that's good. I'll need to restart my Parler account. What I want to talk about is somebody else who was attacked unjustly. This right here in Arkansas, a guy named Nathan Hughes. This was, I think, about a year ago. No, 2023. When Nathan Hughes was held at gunpoint for allegedly doing something on January 6th. In addition to him, his girlfriend was also held at gunpoint. She could have easily been gunned down and ended up like Brian Malinowski, who later died due to the corrupt ATF, an organization that should never exist, over something that happened on January 6th. I'm going to play here for folks to remind people, and then talk about why I'm talking about this issue. If it will play, it may not do it due to the audio. Okay, no, it's not going to do that. It's on speaker, but this is a tweet of Nathan. This is from the Hodge twins. Nathan Hughes is apparently a friend of theirs. You can see, apparently there's been an update regarding him as well. But the main issue regarding why I'm talking about this is that Republicans, and this will become an issue during the regular sessions, have had a nasty habit of not doing anything regarding to the judiciary, and in particular, defunding the judiciary. We have the power of the purse. Republicans have had majorities in the legislature now for 3 sessions where we can not only cut the fund, deny funding, but we can pass any budget without the Democrats to say so, and even have a few Republicans take a break and go on vacation and still be capable of hanging out. Something's wrong on Facebook here. You can see it just says something went wrong. It won't say what it is. Facebook is apparently jamming on me. So sorry about any of the problems that you have here. I can still talk about this. We have had a huge problem with the judiciary. For those who didn't, of course, everyone knows what happened regarding Donald Trump. The judiciary did everything in their power and things beyond their power to go after him and his family and his friends, and in some ways succeeding. They've put people in jail that shouldn't be in jail. Nathan Hughes is actually one of them. And he is having to hold out. What he is trying to do, I'll talk about that since I mentioned him first, is he is holding out on a pardon. And what he's trying to do is have his sentence delayed until Trump takes office. It's just January 20th, unless the Democrats and the Uniparty do something to sabotage it. Now, he's in Washington, D.C., which is not part of America anymore. It's run by leftists. Their prosecutors are recommending a sentence of 51 months in prison, saying Hughes struck a police officer 3 times in addition to committing other crimes. And they're making him plead guilty, usually a riot, civil disorder, assaulting, and impeding certain officers. Hughes' attorney said that he may have impeded officers, which can mean anything from running away to not ratting out on other people, but he didn't assault him. Trump said most likely, he's going to pardon January 6th defendants. Again, these people were unjustly detained while BLM was allowed to burn cities to the ground. And of course, we know what happens with corrupt government officials. And of course, there's no justice for Ashley Babbitt, who was murdered by a Capitol Police officer who should have never been there in the first place. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on. But again, Alvin Bragg should have been defunded. I don't know the makeup of the New York legislative system, but I do know the makeup of the Arkansas legislative system. As I said before, it's a supermajority, and they have the power to easily defund leftist courts. And they should have a long time ago, and they haven't, and they need to be called to task to do that. We have a legislative session coming up. Bills have already been filed. And during that session, you can demand that they defund certain judges, one of them being Chris Piazza. Chris Piazza has been, and I'm making sure I get his name spelled correctly. There he is. In May 2014, ruled the ban on same-sex marriage in the state of Arkansas was unconstitutional. There's nothing in the Constitution about marriage at all. It's left up to the states. But this guy just issued his edict like some kind of demigod or king, and that's it. And then, of course, he runs as a Democrat. He ran as a prosecuting attorney, so he's obviously a Democrat. And he's running for re-election. Well, this was 2014. He was appointed by Bill Clinton to a panel that was drafting state ethics legislation. And then he had to recuse himself. So he's a buddy of Bill Clinton, who, by the way, was just in Arkansas last Saturday. And by the way, I don't know if we can. This is an older version of Wikipedia, but he's made a lot of rulings since him. Another one is Tim Fox. Here's Ballotpedia. He's the Division II judge of the Sixth Circuit Court in Arkansas. He's elected. Now, this is older. I'm not sure if he's still in office, but the fact that this guy was allowed to be there for so long shows that this guy should have never been there. And by the way, this ban on same-sex marriage, people like me and a lot of other church folks got involved to gather signatures to put that on the ballot. I'm sorry, folks. Facebook just keeps interrupting me again. And we managed to get that on there. Worked really hard for that, and it was overturned by one guy. And it says Judge Sixth Circuit. I don't know if he's still there because these are Ballotpedia. This is older. And again, we have a Republican supermajority. We could easily defund these guys. And we just had a recent ruling regarding communist China and these crypto mining facilities. First of all, it's an embarrassment that these crypto mining facilities were allowed to be set up in the first place. A lot of which was done when Sarah Huckabee Sanders was governor. And again, we've had a supermajority for several sessions now. This should have never, but we did pass some laws regarding some of these crypto mining facilities, and a judge just recently overturned that. Now, that may have been a federal judge, which, again, our state legislature can't do much about. But you can put pressure on our federal candidates, Tom Cotton, John Bozeman. I'm sorry if I can't find. I had a story on this. So here's the story right now. Government officials protest plan to build crypto mining now Little Rock Air Force Base. You don't have to protest it. Shut it down. It's a security threat. It's going to be in Cabot. And there's a lady there named Courtney Roldan who's doing everything she can to fight against this. Again, when a lot of these fights are on a local level. And the problem with these crypto mining facilities is that they're connected to communist China. And now Christine Baker, who also ruled against several pro-life bills, issued a temporary restraining order. She's a chief U.S. judge. And again, if even 0.1% of the people that vote Republican demanded these people cut the funding to these judges, they would lose they would at least we wouldn't be funding them. I mean, if they're going to work for globalists, let the globalists pay for them. Let Blackstone or George Soros, or whoever it is, pay their electric bill and all that. And most people don't have a problem with crypto mining itself. It's in the case of Arkansas, the organizations that are doing it, which again is communist China. And if you've never heard this for the first time, it's because your media has failed you. The Arkansas Democrat Gazette, I don't even know, they barely mention this. No, they don't even, I don't see in this article that they mention that this is connected to communist China. You have to go to other organizations and people like me to find that out. I did a story about this a while ago. There is a noise issue. My biggest issue is the crypto mining is that, again, they're connected to communist China. And you'll probably have to find it in places like Rumble. There is some YouTube organizations. On Facebook, I can't bring them up because I wanted to, but Facebook has crashed on me for some reason. But yeah, you can look for them. There are lots of great groups that are fighting that. There's also similar groups that are fighting the windmills. I don't know if they're all in communist China, but they are, of course, a scam. And that's a part of that's one of the big problems here is the judiciary gets to do these rulings and edicts behind closed door, so you don't know what was for and against. You can't tell what decisions was made and why. It's just come out and you have to accept it. And that's not the way a constitutional republic is supposed to be. Some people call it democracy, but we're really a constitutional republic, and we need to push that. But we have no, when these kind of edicts are done, it's like you have no freedom. You might as well not even go out and vote, which is what they really want to do. And so, again, contact your legislators, tell them to defund activist judges, Chris Piazza, Tim Fox. And if there's some of these prosecutors that are failing to do their job, you can go after tell them to defund them as well. They have the power of the purse. Make them use it. Make it an issue. Because again, the judiciary has failed us. It has failed Donald Trump. It failed J6 people. It failed Brian Malinowski. And sooner or later, it's going to fail you. You talk to any of these people that teach gun classes, they'll tell you need to get gun insurance because some Alvin Bragg looking person is running around in Arkansas. And I guarantee you, they're going to go after you. If you have to defend yourself, they'll either try to throw you in jail or bankrupt you. And so that's their MO. They'll keep doing stuff like that, and they're going to keep doing it until people, say no, enough is enough. So there's Facebook jamming on me. Sorry about the delay in that. Well, folks, as you know, I did go to the Arkansas Republican Party State Committee. While I was there, I wrote that he had been installed. This is an older post. I did a live stream of that event. If you want to see that, let me make sure I click the right one. I believe it's this one. The audio, it may not be the best because as usual, they made sure that guests were not allowed to enter the area. They had an overflow room, which you had to pay the same amount of money as you would if you were to attend the meeting, which is pointless and stupid. But here's the link if you want to see that event. And as I've written and as other people have said, as Katie has said here yesterday was a meeting, the establishment rhinos won all the leadership positions. Of course, the chair, the reason they won that is because they ignored the will of the state committee, of the state convention rather, that met in June, that said that elected officials had to run for the ability to be a voter in the state committee meeting. Over 300 delegates said no. Normally they get a free vote. Normally they get a vote. If they're elected official, they get to automatically vote. And because a lot of things are done behind closed doors, what happens is Chris Caldwell and the other consultants get them in a room and negotiate and tell them who to vote for. And it's not a constitutional republic. The Republican Party of Arkansas is not run as a constitutional republic. It's run as a closed door private property of the special interest. Now, this is a video that I worked on along with the help of the lovely Rebecca that talks about that. I'm actually going to need to pull my mic so I can get audio, because you used to be able to get audio, but now I don't think I can. Let me check my sound here for a little bit. Let me see if that does it. Oh, sorry about that.
The Ballard County Committee. Yeah. Only members, full members of the state committee vote. Full members of the state committee have to vote. Yes, ma'am. That's what we're saying. Yes, ma'am. That's what we're saying. There's been a motion to call the vote in a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. Ayes have it.
So there we are, folks. That's the situation we're in. That's why, and that's part of the reason why our GOP will not go after the corrupt judicial officials, is because they're not run by conservatives. They're not run by people who care. When you have that kind of behavior in an organization, that organization's not ready to fight. So if you're sick of judicial activism, if you're sick of what happened to Daniel Penny, what happened to Nathan Hughes, what could happen to you or me, if that irritates you, if that worries you, you need to find a local county committee and make sure they are conservative and active. And if there's none there, I think Scott County was in the process of making a county committee. You need to wake them up, just form one. If they already have one and it's working great, help it. Donate time to it, donate money to it. That's how you fight things like judicial activism. As said before, if we had not fired Ronna McDaniel, the powers that be would have installed Kamala Harris. Trump would not have won, because Ronna McDaniel was gonna sabotage any effort by any conservative. For those that don't know, Ronna McDaniel was the former head of the RNC. And when this happened in February, and this crook, along with about, I think 60 or so GOP officials were kicked out, that's when you had real reform. I actually wanted to talk about some of what needs to be done here on a local level. There was an article, an excellent post. Actually, it was on Facebook, and I think it was a Democrat Gazette article on what needed to be done, but it didn't. I can't seem to bring it up. But I'll tell you right now, Joseph Wood, our current chair, who's been installed, supposedly elected, he needs to go. He doesn't care about conservative issues. He's only there to work on the behest of Chris Caldwell and Richard Bearden and the other consultant types that meet behind closed doors. That's why you have things like the Franklin prison, the prison in Franklin County, which may even be a good idea, but the way it was done was it was in a corrupt way. The local people there had no idea it was happening. That's why we have Chinese crypto mining facilities, also done behind closed doors. And they're having to fight that up there in Cabot. That's why you have these windmills being set up in North Arkansas. And a lot of legislation, a lot of things are going to be done behind closed doors. There's probably going to be an effort to get rid of or weaken FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. There's probably going to be an effort to stop the expansion of paper ballots in the state. And it's going to be a closed door bill. It's going to be suddenly propped up and filed, and then it's going to be put in a committee where a few amount of people can meet, and they're going to limit debate, and then they're going to try to rush it through. And if you dare oppose it, you're going to be anti-Republican or anti-conservative. And then on the opposite end, I know there's an effort that's being done to stop illegal immigration in the state. Those bills are going to be either sabotaged or weakened, or again put at a time when people can't have any discussion or dialogue, and then they're going to be killed in committee or never introduced on the floor or something. It's always going to be something. And that kind of behavior is going to keep happening until we kick out the rhino class of the Republican Party and replace them with real conservatives. We should have elected Margot Herzl. That was the lady I posted on there. This is the one I had on the live stream.
Here.
Sorry about that. I had a picture of her, and well, here. This it is. And by the way, you can look here and see all kinds of other footage. There was a protest right outside the same building where we did have the event, thanks in part to the Republican Party of Arkansas scheduling the Republican meeting at the same place that Bill Clinton was supposed to speak at. So it was a little odd having Secret Service and police dogs come up and sniff you while I was doing a live stream, but overall everything seemed to be okay, at least in that issue. And you can see that. Here, I'll go ahead and share this. This is when this is what happened here.
Every time that Clinton's live.
Let's cross now.
Hey, Clinton, what do you say? How many children have you killed today? 1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation no more.
Now, these people have every right to do this. And when I first saw them, I thought they were going to protest the Republican Party, and then I had forgotten that Bill Clinton was going to be here. And they are partially correct. Bill Clinton, like most of the other presidents, was a warmonger. Now, they are incorrect in calling Israel an occupation. I hate to break it to you, but there's no such thing as a Palestinian. Okay, they are basically Western Jordanians or Eastern Egyptians. They never were a people called Palestine. And if you call something an occupation and that occupation actually vastly improves the place, it's not an occupation. And I don't know what group this is or who funds it. It's probably some Soros-funded organization, and they probably get some state dollars or maybe some university, something like that. But
5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is a terror state. Let's all remember why we're out here today. I want to keep repeating. Bill Clinton has lied one after the other.
The Republican Party is having their committee meeting there. They're protesting both ways. There you go. That's hilarious. I thought they were there to protest RPA.
yeah, this is good enough.
Let me know when it's ready. Oh, there we go. There's it. No. We're good. We're going to get out of here. I'll put this on Rumble too. Some bonus footage.
Okay, folks. So, yeah, that happened. So, folks, the state committee meeting's already met. They've already installed people. The best thing we can do now is, like I said, put pressure on the local candidates, especially the state legislators, to defund the judiciary, put pressure on the federal officials to do the same, and put pressure on the Republican Party officials to start behaving, to start respecting the rules of the Republican Party of Arkansas, and put pressure on the RNC to get involved and to actually help in, making the RP abide by rules and respect the conservatives. The overwhelming majority of whom want close primaries are sick and tired of, fake Republicans running around, oftentimes people that ran as Democrat, vote as Democrat, just pretending to be Republican to run for office. By the way, one of the rules changes we did was requiring that a Republican, if you run for office as a Republican, you have to be registered as a Republican. That was also voted down. Lots of other things have just gone on that have been an absolute failure regarding the Republican Party, but it desperately needs reform. And like I said, it's the main vehicle to fix things on a political issue. Obviously, this nation needs to turn to God. Individuals need to turn to God. And until that kind of reform is done, any political reform ain't going to matter. And as I always say, this is my favorite Bible verse when talking about this: when the wicked thrive, the people groan. So anyway, I've got other things to do. Again, check me out at Rumble, Just the Right Angle, YouTube, Keep Arkansas Legal. And other than that, I will see you all later.